the MattyDaddy Fantasy Football Affair. Welcome to the show. It is time. It's the Wednesday Night Delight. We got a big name and we got a big show planned. Kyle Pitts, rookie bust, QB peaks and valleys. Yeah, dig it. So without further ado, I'm going to get the man, the myth, the legend. You know him, DLF. We all love him, dude. Pleasure to have him on the show. Ryan, what's up, my man?
What's going on, man? You are bringing the energy. I love it. I'm ready to talk some bust, some rookies, talk Kyle Pitts. Let's do it.
Dude, absolutely. Dude, first off, pump your product, man. DLF, everybody knows it, but just so everybody knows, such a badass website, such a tool in the dynasty space, fantasy football, you name it. Kind of put it out there for everybody.
Yeah, we think we have everything the dynasty player needs to be successful. You know, for so long we really just focused on written content for years and years, and then over the past few years we've added so many tools that dynasty players can use. We actually bought out a great website, FF Statistics. We brought not only all the tools that they had, but we brought the man who created them, Addison Hayes, over. He continues to create more and more. We've got ADP for every format you can imagine. We've got rankings, same thing. Every format you might play, we've got rankings for them, and tons of podcasts, tons of live streams on YouTube. Really, everything a dynasty player needs. We got a nice offer with Monkey Knife Fight as well. So if you want to try out Monkey Knife Fight, you get all of that DLF product for $10 a year.
Bang, bang, baby, like a drum. Dude, and speaking of DLF, I thought this would be a good time. Fantasy community is amazing. And you have two guys that I've went to for questions, for answers, just advice, and they're on your freaking team. So this is a good time to give a shout out to Nate Williams from True North and Cal, dude. He does your live streams. These are two big hit guys. I love they're on your team. I just figured this would be a good time to give them that shout out.
Absolutely. Both guys are pretty new with us. Cal has come over and made a quick impact, especially on the YouTube side. He's really changing what we're doing there. We love having him, and Nate is brand new. Just had his first article posted, I believe earlier today, or just over the past couple of days. So yeah, I'm with you. We're proud of that those two are on our side.
Absolutely. Well, dude, let's get to the gaga. Let's get to the good. Let's talk dynasty football. Let's start it off with the QB peaks and valleys. Off the tail of the offseason so far is Rodgers and Watson. Mm-hmm. So I just want to get kind of your opinion on these two guys, especially with the recent audio of Funchess saying, I don't deal with retired quarterbacks, all that kind of stuff. You got Rodgers, you got Love, man. Kind of fill me in from a dynasty perspective, what you're feeling with Rodgers right
now. I've been saying that I'm not worried. I don't think he's getting traded. I don't think they're going to give in, basically. And I think ultimately Rodgers will give in. Obviously, I don't have any kind of insider knowledge, it's just kind of my read on the situation, but everything we continue here day after day, and of course with minicamp starting and he did not report, we knew that would be the case, but it just seems like they're dug in. So I'm not worried yet, still super early in the process. The good news from a dynasty standpoint is both of these guys are pretty cheap. They're both Rodgers is outside of that QB1 range. Part of that, of course, is due to his age, and so many of the young up-and-coming quarterbacks that we have in the league, especially these three rookies that are all pushing into that top 12 range already. So Rodgers is outside of the top 12 quarterbacks according to ADP. Like I said, partly due to age, also partly just the uncertainty of what's going to happen this season. Even if he, even if he plays, there's a chance that he misses some time. There's a chance that he's traded, and
right.
I think the situations that we're looking at as possible trade landing spots, not necessarily as good as what he's got in Green Bay and that system. So we could we could be looking at a slight downgrade if he is traded. Jordan Love, people are just not buying in yet. So, I mean, he is, even in super flex leagues, really easy to acquire right now. I think we go out and try to start shopping for Jordan Love just in case, because even if Rodgers plays, you haven't invested too much.
Well, you said the situation, man. That just screams, as I say here, hot buy, hot buy. This is a good spot. He was a first-round pick. NFL scouts at least saw this guy had some gas. So it's big. And then Rodgers, man, you don't see him, even if he was to not play, force his hand in Green Bay, you expect him to play a couple more years at least, correct? Or
yeah. I mean, I'm not buying the retirement talk. I'm not buying the Jeopardy talk. I mean, of course, he could do that, but I mean, that just seems like
absolutely.
So yeah, like it's not going to happen.
Are you a Kirk Cousins? Are you maybe shopping at Rodgers to get Cousins in a piece? Does something like that interest you as a competing team? With, we always say bad defense usually means good offense unless it's like Drew Lock. So is this somebody are you shopping for a kind of downgrade here if you're a competing team, or are you just pumping the brakes? It's only, June.
Yeah, I'm probably hanging on to him, honestly. If anything, I'd be trying to buy him. I think like I said, his price is dropping due to the uncertainty. So I'd rather be a buyer than a seller, especially if I'm moving to someone like Cousins. Just don't see the big upside there with him. He's certainly been steady, but if I am moving off of Rodgers, I'm trying to get someone, another player I see is reliable, but in that same price range. Matthew Stafford comes to mind.
Absolutely. We got some comments. Bo with a lot of Y's, so that's like, hey. True North Nate, like I said, I could rep him all day, dude. He's a stud. Let's get back to the cake, dude. Let's talk Deshaun Watson. So much cloud, just nasty, but top 5 potential. This is a guy that everybody's trying to trade for at the same kind of discount. But you know what you have when he plays. And we're not getting a lot of answers, but are you selling Watson? You hold him? What's your game plan for a player like this?
I'm buying. Again, price is dropping. Unlike Rodgers, age is on Watson's side. Even if he ultimately sits out or is suspended for the entire season, like I said, he's still young. I don't think he's played his last snap in the NFL. I just don't think that's realistic based on what we've seen in other situations. And obviously this one is different. They're all different from each other, but and none of that is to downplay what's going on off the field. Obviously some terrible accusations. And that's, I mean, as a dynasty player, I try to separate that from the game of fantasy football.
Absolutely.
So, I see the price dropping. I see an elite player. I'm going to try to take advantage of that. So yeah, I'd be buying Watson.
Watson's
it really has.
Yeah, I can dig it, man.
You mentioned that we haven't heard much. It's really been like eerily quiet on the Watson front. My buddy Drew Davenport, who is a criminal lawyer and also works for Football Guys, he shared a lot of information on his opinion on Watson, and it's not good. This long period of basically quiet, especially from the Houston police, the police department. Drew says that is not a good sign. So that has me a little worried. I don't mind buying, but we might even see a lower price, in the near future.
Yeah, and then you got Denver. Everybody's just kind of biting at everybody thinks the next big quarterback's going to end up in Denver. I think it's just been a whirlwind. So quarterbacks, dude, let's talk some rookies, man. You've been doing this forever. Let's talk some busts. Let's get right in there. We're on quarterbacks. Let's keep the train going, dude. Rosen and Trubisky. Trubisky getting compared to like Drew Brees coming out. Just mechanics, different little things, not a lot of play time. we've seen, peaks and valleys, and now we're here to the bus. You see this great group of quarterbacks coming out. We've hyped them up all offseason. We know the spots. First off, Rosen, Trubisky, were either one of these guys one that you kind of were real surprised that they busted?
Rosen got me. I was surprised that he was not successful at all in the NFL. And to me, the Rosen profile and the Trubisky profile very different. Rosen came into college as a huge, big time recruit, really played throughout his college career and played at a high level. Trubisky, kind of that 1 year wonder, and the Bears fell for it. Lots of fantasy players fell for it as well. So you look at this crop of rookie quarterbacks, and we saw Mac Jones, of course, play just 1 year. We saw Trey Lance essentially start just 1 year as well. So, if you're worried about kind of that mold, those would be the guys you're concerned with. I think playing style, they're both very different than Trubisky. I guess Zach Wilson is the one I would be worried about as far as busting. And he's kind of in the middle of those two guys. He started basically his entire career for BYU and put up some big numbers.
Right.
But it took that up until this final year, this past season, before he really got the attention. I play in Devy leagues where we're getting these college guys on our roster, before they hit the NFL. And Zach Wilson was not really he wasn't on my radar. And
no.
As far as I know, he wasn't on the radar for very many Devy players, Dynasty players, NFL draft scouts or whatever you want to call them. So in some ways he came out of nowhere, but he'd also been putting up some pretty solid numbers for BYU his first couple seasons.
Man, the Jets just always kind of scare you. We've just had this past with Mark Sanchez looked pretty good 1 year, and then it kind of all falls out. Darnold, we could go on and on. But, dude, Fields is this one that's real. It's like an enigma. It's so interesting because we've heard the fandom from the Bears. It just all went crazy. And this is a guy that a lot of people had as their number 2 quarterback coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And he lands in Chicago with Allen Robinson, these weapons. So he's going to be a real interesting one to see after he was passed on by a couple of these teams, what we got in this guy, especially like we keep going back Denver, what they're doing, it's crazy.
Yeah, Denver passing, Carolina passing, even Atlanta, they're getting kind of a pat on the back for taking Pitts, but I think they should have taken him as well, or certainly should have considered it. So, I was probably going to love Justin Fields almost anywhere. I don't blame the Bears fans for, being pretty excited about that. They haven't had a good quarterback almost in my entire lifetime, and that's a long time. So to get prospect like Fields, especially when he falls to to 10 or 11, wherever it was that he fell, they trade up to get him. Great move by the Bears. They haven't made too many lately as an organization. So I would be applauding that as well. Love Fields. I did move Lance slightly ahead in my rankings. Fields at QB3 and third overall in Superflex rookie drafts.
What about have you been to any live NFL drafts, Ryan?
I have not, no.
Oh,
I think that's one of those events I think I'd just rather,
see you out there running your television. 40 with the fans and
you don't want to see
that. You'd be so let's move it. Let's keep it going, baby. This is another one. Oh, Royce Freeman, just a beast in college, Oregon.
Yeah.
Then you had Trent Richardson, this history of Alabama running backs just producing. First off, dude, Trent Richardson blew up his first year. I don't know stats, but he seemed like he was pretty reliable the first year and then got traded kind of out of nowhere. Big deal trade. And then Royce, he's still hanging on. But I sent out missing person reports. I still hadn't seen the guy. So, dude, what went wrong with these guys? Any feedback on these two RBs?
I wish I knew what went wrong on Richardson. That's one that I didn't see coming, especially like you said, after that promising rookie year. I mean, the year after that, offseason after his rookie season, he was going 101 in dynasty startups. He was the top pick in those startups, and I know I fell for that one too. So
built like a truck, dude. Like he had
right,
that.
I mean,
but then you'd see him like, he'd lateral step everywhere. He was never just hitting the hole. He was dancing.
Yeah.
And it was just real weird. And then Royce, I mean, Lindsey beats him out. Just crazy.
Yeah, now I think Royce is a little bit of a different case because, and I think it's easier to see some examples of that in this class and really in every class. Basically, we vaulted him up. He was I don't remember, third or fourth round pick, and he gets vaulted up in dynasty drafts and dynasty value based on that landing spot. We look at Denver; they didn't have much at that time, and dynasty players think he's going to be the guy. We do that every single year. We did it with Keyshawn Vaughn last year. We fell for it. I didn't, but a lot of people did. I kind of think it might be Trey Sermon. It might be Michael Carter this year. I like, both of those guys are going to have a chance to play, but it's exactly the same line of thinking that we're moving them up based on this opportunity. They were third, fourth round picks, and now they're being drafted in the first round of rookie drafts.
Crazy, dude. One to step back on that Royce Freeman 2018 draft class. You remember all those RBs? It was like Ronald Jones, Penny. It was all these, like everybody, Sony Michel, everybody went crazy. Chubb was the one that, withstood them all. But just that would be almost a fun one just to see what went wrong with all those RBs in that draft class. Because it was like nobody hit for the longest time.
It's hard to imagine almost all of them busting, but that's what happened.
Well, and then you see you play Devy and you get I wouldn't say you get attached, but you see him like Royce Freeman just run over people, catch everything, and just, the NFL's a different beast. Nate's blowing up with the comments here. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Let's do some.
Go
ahead. My bad.
Oh, it really, that Nate said the Browns knew something nobody else did, shipped him out. It really did seem like that, like out of nowhere that trade happened. And I mean, it's one of those, like, I remember where I was moments when I heard about it and immediately started writing an article about it. But it was a shocker. And obviously in hindsight, the Browns look pretty smart for at least getting out while they can. I think dynasty players can learn something from that. Like you use a first round pick on a rookie. It was a bad pick. It turns out, get out while you can. Take a second, take a third, whatever. Get something in return. Had to be
something behind the scenes, because you don't think you're going to move a guy after he has a season like that.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, let's hit up receivers, because Harry was everybody's favorite prospect just a couple years ago. Arcega-Whiteside, anybody that's went to Philly lately just haven't really gotten loose. And now I couldn't even fit all these receivers on the screen. Elijah Mitchell.
There's too many.
There's too many. So everybody's money in the bank on Chase. Then we have a couple wild cards, man. Everybody loves Bateman, but then doesn't love the spot. Devontae Smith's too small. Waddle, what do we have there? Is he raw? And then you have these other guys like Tony Moore, all of them. So first off, dude, N'Keal Harry, is there anything left in the tank for this guy? Or do you think he's just written off completely?
Yeah, I'm writing him off. He's one of those. I gave up, not quickly, but gave up and tried to get something for him while he still had some value. So I got him off all of my rosters because, again, man, you're hitting on all the rookies that I fell for when we
all fell for him. It wasn't. Dude, trust me.
I wasn't alone, luckily. From a playing style, I don't know if any of these guys remind me of Harry and Arcega-Whiteside. Bateman might be the closest one. Honestly, I was a little bit down on him coming into the draft, and I say down on him. I think he was my wide receiver 4 or 5, and he seemed to be 2 or 3 for most people. So just slightly off. And of course, I've got questions about the landing spot as well. Even though he's got a chance to be the wide receiver 1 for the Ravens. If I'm picking a first round bust, Kadarius Toney's the easy, kind of the popular pick for that. And I'm worried about him as well. But I don't think Bateman is a slam dunk at all.
And Bateman's one of those that I still see him going over Waddle. I still see people competing with him with Smith. Seems like everybody's kind of giving up on Smith just because of size.
Well, we had so many of these first-round wide receivers, and you're right. Outside of Jamar Chase, they all have questions, whether it's size or is Toney a one-year wonder, Bateman's landing spot, and Waddle, I guess, really kind of his size as well, and a little bit more of a late breakout. So Waddle's probably the second safest, I guess, of those first-round wideouts.
That's interesting because he's another one that you don't hear the hype about as you do some of these guys. Dude, yeah, everybody loves Chase. I'm pretty high on Devontae Smith, the size that, he always gets compared to like a Hollywood Brown, but I feel like he is a do-it-all receiver. I just kind of like Kyler Murray. I'm worried for his health because he is so small.
Yeah.
Dude, great bust. Let's talk about a guy that damn near won't bust, or at least none of us see it coming. Everybody, the whole off season, McDowell, talk to Pitts with me. Give me all the yum-yums. Kyle Pitts. This is basically the second coming of God at this point, this offseason. I thought it was Lawrence. And this guy is getting vaulted up rankings. And now we just saw Julio leave. We've seen Atlanta's not there yet from a defensive standpoint. They have a whole new regime. Fill me in on Pitts, man. Is this just money in the bank right here? Is this a hot buy? Get him while you can. Move up in the drafts and rookies. What are we doing here? Tight end premium, just everything.
Yeah, I'm buying the hype. He is my 1.02 in Dynasty rookie drafts. That's in 1 quarterback leagues. And in Superflex, I've got a couple of the passers ahead of him. But, it seems like if you rank him even at 2 or 3, you're getting some pushback because he's going 101 in so many leagues. I've never seen a tight end treated like this. I've never seen a tight end valued like this, especially this early, obviously, in their career. And I think it's kind of deserved, honestly. He is already my tight end 1 in my dynasty rankings.
Woo!
If I've got Travis Kelce on my roster, I'm making that offer 1 for 1. Actually, I'm not making that offer because I already know it's going to get rejected.
Yeah.
But I would give Kelce. I would give Kittle. If I'm in a startup, I'm taking Pitts over both of those guys. It's not even a concern about Pitts, just the concern about the market. Because when a player like this comes into the league, and we've seen it a few times over the years, I think Saquon Barkley was an example of this, and there's not an every year example, but every once in a while, we as a dynasty community want to kind of outdo ourselves. So it started out saying he was a top 5 dynasty rookie pick. And then that wasn't good enough. Now he should be the 101, and that's not good enough. Now he's tight end 1 in dynasty. That's not good enough. I've seen and heard people say that by this time next year he'll be a first round startup pick. And in fact, somebody showed me one draft where he was drafted in the first round of a dynasty startup already this year. That was not tight end premium either. So. We kind of get in this like flag planting competition where you say something crazy and for whatever reason, I have to outdo it. Yeah. So really no concerns about Pitts. You've heard the talk that he's basically going to play and be treated like a wide receiver. I don't think he's getting that wide receiver tag. Why would the Falcons do that? They're going to be able to pay him less as a tight end. So they're not going to worry about that for 4 years. He's not going to worry about it for 4 years or probably 5 years with that with that rookie deal. So, the idea that he might be moved officially, like on fantasy sites, to a wide receiver, I don't think that's happening. And we really shouldn't want it to, because if you've got him on your roster, you've got a huge advantage at tight end over most other teams.
So the Kyle Pitts dance continues, baby. Everybody's still loving him. Guns a-blazing. Dude, before you get out of here, I got the tough questions. Putting the hat on backwards. It's go time. Back in the day, you're playing video games. Mom's like, Ryan, time for that, Mom. I'm still playing, Ma. And then video games, dude. I'm 34 years young right now, so I was kind of in the Nintendo, Super Nintendo days. What was a game when you were a kid just you couldn't put down the sticks?
Oh man, I'm older than you. NBA Jam was one of ours that we would definitely spend some time on. And then even before that, this is Rebar's Konami code, Contra, man. Contra was from way back. So I liked Super Contra even better, I think. So those are a couple of mine.
Now, I know you got kids, you got family. Are the kids into video games?
They are, they are for sure. It's very different than. Of course,
they watch people play video games, which is crazy.
They watch people. They talk to their friends. My son is stealing my headphones to talk to his buddies and play.
Love it.
Play all his games. So it's very different, but they have fun with it.
Absolutely. And now we got Sonic movies. We got Mortal Kombat movies. Not bad if you're looking for something to kind of relive that nostalgia. More comments. Keep them coming. Quinn Kuski. Oh, the video game. Our Hot Buy Happy Hour. We have a video game moment of the week. So, dude, here's one of my favorites. I do a wrestling podcast, old school wrestling rewinds. I kind of do, the acting, stuff like that. Back in the day when wrestling was popping, man, you had Stone Cold, you had Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, all these larger than life characters. Did wrestling suck you in at all at some point in your life?
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. I grew up watching wrestling, every Saturday morning, get up to watch wrestling. And then every once in a while we would get those Saturday night main events. I don't know if you remember those, but I could never stay up that late. I'd fall asleep, wake up Sunday morning and be mad at myself that I fell asleep. But loved wrestling, loved Stone Cold. I kind of got out of it, I would say, like probably in my high school years, and then came back to it at the peak, in the late 90s, early 2000s, I guess, with Stone Cold and
just that Crash TV where the 90s were like, there was only 30 channels, but it was almost like everything was allowed,
Yeah.
Just crazy how we've evolved as a country, as just a time in our lives. What about the Macho Man, Ryan? Yeah, I see you over at DLF. I see you dropping elbow drops and headlocks. Any Macho Man memories? The Slim Jims, anything? Was that one of your guys?
Macho was okay. I was more of a, who I liked? Brutus the Barber. That was my guy.
The scissors.
Yes.
Man. Old Brutus. Him and Hogan were like best buds too. So imagine that's like you being best friends with Bill Gates. He's like, hey, you want to come hang out? Hell yeah, dude. Dude, and he got over, man. Everybody, Hall of Famer, all that stuff.
That's
just
awesome.
A different style. So the tag team match of the night, Stone Cold and Pitts or Macho Man and Lawrence? Who you got?
Oh, man. I want Pitts and I want Stone Cold, so that's an easy choice.
I knew it was too easy for you. Couple more, dude. Music, what's your style? Any bands you big fan of, like 90s alternative? Are you a classic rock guy? Are you a gangster rap? What's your style?
Man, all of it. Every bit of that. If you grew up in the 80s and 90s, it was all that rolled into one. That's what it is. I love my son just turned 14 and he is big time into classic rock. And
you did
he'll
good.
ask me about he'll ask me about a song that I don't even know or don't remember. So he's into it. But yeah, I love all that. This has come up with the Scott Fishbowl because
that was my next question.
I thought that might be where we were going with this, but Scott and I did a podcast and we were asked what our favorite band was. And I didn't realize at the time that we had this in common, but we both said the Beastie Boys. So,
whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
Just freaking divine intervention, man.
I know. Meant to be.
Any big concerts you've been to? One that sticks out?
I'm not really much of a concert guy. It's one of those things. Every time I get the chance to go, I love it. But just never really a priority for me. So I need to change that. Especially
make sure you get those date nights. I don't know if
that's
a wife
right.
wants you to take her to go listen to music, but
probably not Beastie Boys, but we'll find something.
You need to get Scott and y'all need to go see Beastie Boys.
That's right.
Well, dude, Scott Fishbowl, man, this is something everybody loves. Another part of fantasy is giving back. Everybody wants to help those that need to be helped. That's why there's all these donations for different food banks, different anything and everything you can give back. And that's what's cool about fantasy. You put some of those league dues towards that. Have fun with it with the charity leagues. But there is nothing bigger than the Scott Fishbowl. It's just taking over a life on its own. A lot of it's Scott Fish, man. I applied, I think, 3 years, finally got in. It was like a golden ticket moment. You're making people's – it's crazy. Something like this means so much, but we just love it, dude. We love Scott. And now you've been part of this, so kind of fill in anybody. Scott Fishbowl, man, tell me a little about it.
Yeah, it's such a great thing to bring the community together. Scott was just recognized yesterday at the FSGA as the Matthew Berry game changer of the year, and he certainly has changed the game in so many ways. But everything that you just mentioned there is really the main one. Basically, encouraging people to donate to support charity. It's helped so many families. Not just in the fantasy community, but really around the country. I know that money comes in every year. He doesn't even keep it all there in Minnesota where he lives. He sends some to me. I shop for families in Louisville. We're shopping for families in Chicago and in Los Angeles and all around the country. Such a great thing he's doing. But every year he puts together a huge fantasy league, over 2,000 fantasy players in it. This year, I believe, is the number. Some invites still to come. So if you haven't gotten your invite yet, keep those fingers crossed. We're still sending out invitations, and what you said there is exactly right. It's so cool to see the reaction, especially of those first time players who have never gotten the chance to be a part of it. When they get in, it is so exciting, and just to see those people celebrate and enjoy it. That's the best part for me. I'm glad to help Scott out with this and kind of behind the scenes, put the leagues together. And that's my favorite part is seeing just how jacked people get to be a part of it.
Absolutely. I want to give one more shout out because this is another guy. He's somebody I gave a shout out. He got in, thank goodness. But Sam from Tight Ends Matter, they're called the Super Duper Flex Bros. It's him and his brother. His brother's a firefighter, and him have this bond where they do a fantasy football podcast. They kind of do the perception for tight ends. Pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
But all their leagues are charity-based. I have not been in a league that they aren't. So I just wanted to give them, as we're talking Fishbowl, Tight Ends Matter. Anybody that's listening, give these guys a follow. Just great human beings. Dude, hell of a time, dude. Thanks for coming on. My one word of advice, you don't need any advice. Get you a vacation this summer, dude. You work hard.
Hey, Disney World next week. We're going.
Whoa, man. And the humidity's going up, those $6 bottles of water. Oh, hopefully y'all have those fast passes, man. But, dude.
Yeah, we do.
You got 3 kids, right? 4?
3
5?
kids, yep. 3.
Popping them out, man. Dude, just congratulations to everything you've done, everything you do for this community. Last one, if you have one word of advice for all these people out here that are creating content, that are working, they're doing fantasy. They're doing everything. They look up to guys like you. Hit them with one thought.
I think you just have to be active, first of all. You know, I think people like the idea of being in this space, but then they take days off, or they take weeks off, or they move to baseball, or they, jump around from different formats, whatever. Be active, stay engaged, and try to differentiate yourself. That's becoming harder and harder to do. I think we saw a good example of it the other day when Julio Jones gets traded. It feels like every fantasy analyst, everybody on Twitter is basically saying the same thing. So that's easier said than done. But find your niche, stick with it. Don't feel like you have to do it all.
Ryan, dude, it's been a blast. As Stone Cold would say, that's the bottom line, because Ryan McDowell said so. DLF, Ryan McDowell. I am the MattyDaddy. Fantasy affair, football. You need it. We got it. Till next time, it has been a pleasure, my treasure. Good night, guys.